Why we take food in order to cater our energy needs, right? When we become sick, we go to the doctor. So doctor prescribes medication. So we take the medicine to get well soon. So now it seems there are two different entities, two different worlds, food and the medicine. Is it really possible to integrate both into one? Can it happen? Today I am going to show you some magic to make the food which you eat as medicine and the same medicine which will become food. Alright, let's start the magic. This is Dr. Harinath Kasikanesan. I am a scientist, worked in Defense Research and Development Organization when Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was Director General. So I am happy to say that he is my guru, mentor. His magnanimous personality had an awe-inspiring effect in me. In the year 2005, I moved to United States in order to join as a senior research faculty in Cardiology Department, Medical University of South Carolina, where I involved myself in discovering novel therapeutic drugs for cardiac ailment. I had several international papers in world-renowned journal as well as many international patents to my credit. However, my personal life event has compelled me to move from researching on conventional pharmaceutical drugs to using nutrition as a therapy for ailments. It is often said necessity is the mother of invention. So in my case, the necessity came in the form of my mom's ailment. After my mom retired from government service, she was suffering with severe arthritis, lumbar spondylitis. She was initially prescribed with the oral painkillers. It worked for some time, but she eventually developed a gastric ulcer due to their side effects. Alternate to that, painful intravenous injections and topical steroids were used. However, she was not, at one point of time, she was not responding to all these medications. She was left with severe pain and immobility. So it pained me immensely because I was in the medical field. I could not able to find a proper remedy to my mom. So that's when I happened to read a review article on Moringa oleifera tree, which is a common household tree, often used as a medicine in Indian folklore. So upon my suggestion, my mom started taking boiled moringa juice regularly, and she improved her condition day by day. So it was, even though it was a sweet surprise for me as a son, as a scientist, I could not believe the results. However, there were many scientific papers published regarding the health benefit of moringa tree, strengthened my belief to be used as a medicine for several diseases. So that period of time, moringa was a hot topic. So it was getting offshore in Europe and USA. Many research laboratories started working on it, finding out different components and medicinal properties. United States Department of Agriculture also took these samples and started analyzing it. And what they found is, very interestingly, they found 28 different amino acids. And in particular, the 5 amino acids they found was found in meat. So I would consider it as a vegan meat. So usually, like the youngsters, they go to gym, they they wanted to build a good muscle. So they are, the trainers used to recommend you go for this meat, that meat, protein rich. But this is a very good alternative. This is a vegan chicken. You got it? So this is the perfect example of food as well as medicine, because it contains all the nutritive elements like carbohydrates, protein, fats, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants and other stuff. So it is a complete food package. And you see the right side, it also contains many phytochemicals like, some of them act like painkillers, anti-inflammatory agents. It also regulates blood sugar, blood pressure, and it is also having lot of beta carotenes, a precursor of vitamin A. It is also acting as a detoxifier, clearing all the waste from our body. It is also potentiating the immune system. So there is a hope here. So there is a food component as well as the medicinal component. So this it gave me a lot of motivation to do research on this. In fact, I grew passion towards moringa and grew moringa tree abroad. So I gave a lot of trees to botanical garden and my research garden. So I did a pilot study with my own animal models. I had, I was doctor of rivers. I create heart attacks in mice, cats, pigs, dogs. So I ran a study to study the efficacy of this moringa leaf extract on my heart attack animal models. So what I found is this moringa leaf extract could able to arrest the progression of the ischemic heart into failing state through its potent anti-inflammatory action. However, there is a caution. In addition to lot of nutritional aspect of moringa, it also contains anti-nutrient factors such as phytates, tannins, saponins, which may cause stomach upsets, gas, bloating. However, there are ways we can able to degrade these anti-nutrient factors like cooking, soaking, sprouting. These are all our routine home cooking chore. The classic example of this process of degrading these anti-nutrient factors found in our own culture is the making of Navadanya health mix. In this, we follow, the similar process in order to degrade all these anti-nutrient factors into nutrients so that the bioavailability of nutrients goes up. So then this health mix is compatible for all age groups, starting from infant to old age. Secondly, our ancestors were giving importance to 6 different tastes. In fact, they emphasized that all 6 different tastes has to be there in every meal. So you can count upon this lunch how many tastes it has. Our Indian system of medicine, Ayurveda and Siddha, brought out a fact that this 6 different tastes has a major role in balancing 3 physiological vital humors are called nadis. They are called vata and pitta and kapha. So when these 6 tastes are present in the food, it actually stabilizes these 3 nadis and balances it so that we can experience good health. If these 3 nadis goes imbalance, then we progress into disease. Now, if you see this in modern scientific parlance, it provides variety of micronutrients, minerals, and phytochemicals. It is the food becomes more balanced. So now researchers have identified there are 25 different subtypes of bitter tasting receptors, not only present in oral cavity, it's very important for you guys. So oral cavity, but it also expressed throughout our body. It is expressed in all the system, playing a major role in different physiological systems like respiratory system, cardiovascular system, metabolic system, waste clearance system, and immune system. I would like to bring in another term which is very familiar. It is a very classic physiological term. It is called homeostasis. You know what is homeostasis? Homeostasis is resilience or adaptability of the organisms by withstanding the challenges from outside as well as inside, maintaining a steady state of steady physiological state called homeostasis. When the organism can no more able to maintain the steady physiological state, then the individual gets into the chronic disease. So in that condition, this chronic disease condition, altered homeostasis can be corrected either by drug, pharmaceutical drug, or by food remedies. So this is the compare and contrast between classical pharmacological approach versus the food dose approach. So the drug classical pharmacological paradigm follows one disease, one target, one drug. So in which the drug is administered, then the drug acts on one particular target, addressing the outcome of the disease by manipulating the physiological parameters. But here, the food therapies, the several nutritive components in the food acts on different receptors. Like we saw in the previous slide, there were 25 different subtypes of taste sensing receptor present all over the body. So these nutritive factors acts on different targets, mainly restoring the deficiency, the nutritional deficiency, functional deficiency, potentiating all the physiological functions and preserving or restoring the homeostasis. So I would say this is more holistic way of sustainable way of bringing the re-establishing the health as compared to the classical pharmaceutical drug paradigm, where at short term the physiological manipulation results in good good effect, but at long run it is prone to a lot of side effects and it is not sustainable. It is like a baby is crying due to stomach ache, and then you put a pacifier and happily saying that, oh, the baby stopped crying. But after some time the baby will throw away the pacifier and start crying, and then you go for a bigger pacifier and then push, and then you say that, yes, I am happy, but the baby is choking. So based on my experiences and research, I have invented a polyherbal nutraceutical concoction mainly based on moringa leaves along with several herbs and spices. I have carefully recruited all the spices and herbs in order to bring in 6 tastes, and this I called it as moringa bullet. It is like a magic bullet. So I have so far given it to several thousand patients, and it worked wonders. Patients suffering from arthritis and hypertension, metabolic disorders, so on. So this is my mom. She is my brand ambassador. So she is the first beneficiary. So my mom used to say that, let me spread the happiness what I got to the world. So yan petra inbam perugai vaiyagam. So I was wondering how this this moringa is a very common household plant. It is very local to India, and it grows in a marginal soil, uncared environment. But in spite of that, it accumulates so much of nutrients and phytochemicals. It's a wonder of wonder. And then I realized that the intelligence lies in their root system. So, unlike us, when we are hungry, we go to the canteen and eat it and satisfy. But plants are stuck in one place. They cannot move around. They are immobile. So they have to survive on the with the soil on which it is standing. So it has to rely on the soil to get all this nutrient needs and growth. But unfortunately, the plants could be able to take only nutrients available in ionic form, like nitrogen, phosphate, potassium or calcium in ionic form. So you cannot just eat or take complex food molecules. So during the period of evolution, it has developed a symbiotic relationship with soil microbes. So during the day, the plant, what it does, it produces sugar by taking carbon dioxide and moisture. In the presence of sunlight, it produces sugar. So it always produces extra amount of sugar beyond its need. So those extra sugars are transported from leaves to the stem through the bark, and it is secreted out through the roots like a milk. It is an exudate, milky exudate. So, the sugars are the food for the microbes. So these soil microbes, they migrate towards the food source. They build their homes all along the roots and they stay there permanently. In turn, what it does is, it secretes the enzyme into the soil and it cooks the soil. It digests the soil and mobilizes all the complex nutrient into simple ionic form. So because it is happening at the root zone, so this plant could be able to take up all the nutrients and use it for their survival and growth. So now scientists have identified there are hundreds of nutritive elements are mobilized by this symbiotic bacteria from the soil, so that the plant could be able to get abundant nutrients. Secondly, if in the case of pest attack, this plant actively communicates this information through its roots to this bacteria. In response to that, bacteria produces some bacterial metabolites, which in turn taken up by the plants, put through its biochemical machinery, modifies it as a biopesticide, expresses in their body, and thereby could able to get rid of the pest attack or any challenges, any stress challenges. So these symbiotic microbes becomes part of plant's immune defense system. So that's how the plant could able to get all the nutrients, all the biochemicals it needs, and thereby it could able to protect itself. And then in addition, there are fungal networks. They spreads in miles. Fungal networks, they go from one forest to another forest. It becomes the extension of their roots, and they forages the nutrients and water from remotely and feeds back to the roots. That's how it is. So if you see, if a plant grows in a microbial rich soil, it produces, it forms a robust root zone. There is more interaction of symbiotic interaction between the roots as well as the soil bacteria. So this, this provides all the nutrients for the plants to grow and adopt. So these symbiotic networks are now, it is coming at a challenge because in modern agriculture practices, so we use so much of chemical fertilizers, pesticides and herbicides and artificial growth promoters, which are destroying these symbiotic networks, which is causing destruction of the ecosystem, because the fertile soil with the intact symbiotic network, it calls upon other order of life, like earthworms and other bugs. So with their activity causes porosity in the soil. So the soil texture changes. It becomes spongy. It can able to hold much water, and it also allows the vertical penetration of rainwater down to the aquifers, so that our water table raises. Okay, so when these networks are getting disrupted, what happens? You see this landslide, the huge landslide happening in Ooty, Kodaikanal and the other areas because of the disruption of this microbial fungal network. Even a small child can identify the organically grown vegetables as compared to the conventionally formed ones. You know why? The taste and smell. Behind the taste and smell, there are so many minerals, micronutrients and phytocompounds which bring in taste and aroma in the food. So behind these micronutrients and minerals, there are soil microbes which are mobilizing all these nutrients for the plant to take up. When I started growing plants, vegetables and cereals in an organic way, this connected, the taste and aroma of my produce connected me to my earliest childhood experience of testing it back in my village. I hope Balki can agree in this. So I went around Tamil Nadu started finding rare and forgotten exotic indigenous rice varieties and started cultivating in my farm by using only all organic inputs such as cow dung, cow urine, local herbs. So these indigenous rice varieties were carefully selected by our ancestral farmers, passed on several thousand generations, not only based on its tolerance to extreme environmental conditions, but also having medicinal potential. Now, Food Agriculture Organization of United States also did some research and brought out the data saying that there are 18 nutritive elements which are essential for the plant growth. Those same 18 elements are also needed for our health. So what that means, the soil is the foundation of nutrients. So healthier the soil, healthier we become. So when the soil biology is not sustained, human physiology cannot sustain. So now, there's a question for you. I wanted to know how much you understood so far. What is organic farming? Can anyone guess? I've got a clue here. Organic farming is not growing plants. Organic farming is to grow the soil. Because now the scientists, researchers have identified there are 40,000 families of bacterial colonies living in a spoonful of soil. That means the spoonful of fertile soil contains more living organism more than the whole combined population, human population on earth. So that much the life is there in the soil. I would like to show you another example. This is a very common fertilizer. We use it now for cultivating plants. It is called urea. So if you see in the packet of urea, it says 46% urea. So can anyone ask what is rest 54% contains? It contains chemical fillers or synthetic salts that is added in order to retain urea, otherwise the urea will evaporate. So when this is applied to the soil, more than urea, these chemical fillers drastically change the pH of the soil, results in erosion of the symbiotic soil bacteria. So when these bacteria are gone, what happens? So there is no much mobilization of nutrients. So the United States Nutrient Data Laboratory says the plants grown on a soil fed with these chemical fertilizers are prone to have lesser magnesium, potassium and calcium. So this is a compare and contrast between the fertilizer modern fertilizer fed plant versus the soil life fed plant. Here in the fertilizer fed there is erosion of soil microbiota and there is formation of less root zone. The plant has to grow with whatever the farmers they apply on the soil, that is NPK, nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, and it grows with insufficient nutrients. At the same time, it has a broken immune defense system because the soil bacteria is forming the defense system of the plant. Now it is being compromised, so it is vulnerable to all kind of infestation. So the farmers have to take care of the plants. They have to apply pesticide, herbicides, artificial growth promoters, which are getting imbibed into the plant. So when we harvest this plant and consume it, we become nutritionally insufficient, one side. On the other side, we are exposed to all these biochemical, all this industrial chemicals, which is actually putting a toll on our physiology. So when you see on the right side, so plant grow on a fertile soil has got a robust root zone. So it has got a maximum capacity to take all the nutrients. So it grows with abundant nutrients along with all these beneficial microbial metabolites which are modified as a phytomolecules. So when we harvest and consume, we benefit with the wholesome nutrients. At the same time, all these beneficial plant biochemicals becomes biomedicine, which detoxifies. It acts as a detoxifier as well as it boosts our immunity. So this also can be compared with mother's milk versus formula milk. We are at a very rudiment state to duplicate mother's milk, because every day there are new discoveries made in mother's milk. Recently, accidentally they have discovered some anti-cancer compounds. So now we are moving from outer soil to inner soil. So you may be surprised, everyone is carrying a soil in us. Do you know that? So we carry soil. So we harbor millions and millions of microbes in that soil. So the soil is in our gut. So now scientists say that there are, for every human cell, there are 10 microbes sitting in our gut, deciding our life and health. So when we are born, we are sterile. We don't have these microbes. Then where from we got this? This baby is vulnerable to catch infection. So we got the first line of microbes from our mother's milk. So mother's milk has got active lactic acid bacteria, bifidobacteria, like that, so many probiotic bacteria. When infant is fed on mother's milk, these probiotic bacteria colonizes the gut first, provides us the first line of immunity. And then it trains the infant's immune system, and then day by day we get a matured immune system. So this plays a very vital role. And if you see, the maximum population of probiotic microbes are in our colon, large intestine. So when we eat the food, all the leftover, like after absorption or digestion and absorption, the leftover undigested waste, when it travels to the colon, these probiotic, symbiotic bacteria, what it does, they feed on it. They feed on it and they mobilizes all the good things for us. It, for example, it produces vitamin B complex. It also produces many amino acids. It also plays a major role in our metabolism. So this is an electron microscope, photo of this probiotic microbes which is feeding on one undigested fiber. See how much population of microbes we got, and this is our human root zone, as we saw in case of the root zone. So how the plant is having a hand-in-hand relationship, symbiotic relationship. So we also have a hand-in-hand symbiotic relationship with these guys. They they eat our leftover waste, recycling the waste into valuable product for us. And it plays a major role. Well, of course, I said it produces so much of vitamins and amino acids. It also protects our gut lining. It is also resisting the pathogenic infection, because this is a very dominant colonies. It won't allow any other opportunistic infections to catch on. And it also has a role in bone metabolism, fat metabolism. It also has a role in cardiovascular health, as well as it modifies the neuronal function. Thereby we get the calmness and satisfaction. So this is actually extension of our digestive system. So it is an extension. So it's like how we in the soil, we saw the plant recruits the cooks. They cook the nutrients and provides us, same like that. So it is recycling our waste and turning into valuable product and provides us. So when I was a child, we were living on mostly millet food. So we were leading an agrarian lifestyle. We were eating millets and whole grain and lot of greens. Especially in Tamil Nadu, we have like 20 different greens like spinach. 20 different greens. Some of them are cultivated in the farm. Many of them are uncultivated. They are collected from uncultivated pastures. So this is how our food behavior, food culture was. Very diverse, democratic food. And technically, if I would say, it is a high fiber, complex carbohydrate diet. This was very vital for our bodies, our inner soil. These guys were very happy because we were providing a lot of food. So there is a proverb in Tamil called Urar Pillai Uti Valattal, Tan Pillai Thane Valanum. So what it means in English is, if you feed someone's child, your child is fed. So it is like that. We were feeding them and they were living very happily. What happened? Then time changed. We moved from high fiber, complex carbohydrate, diverse food culture into a simple starchy, less fiber, more processed, dosed with a lot of artificial chemicals, which has put a toll on our symbiotes, our good guys. So what happens? So these artificial chemicals, preservatives, which and then we are taking less fiber, which is robbing their food source. So which is putting a stress on them. Combine that with the excess amount of antibiotics, which totally eroded the probiotic microbiome in the gut, which destroyed the gut immunity. So which has changed, which created a void in the gut. It resulted in opportunistic infection. So this opportunistic bacteria, they sits in our gut, eats the same waste, but it destroys the host by creating inflammation, leakiness in the gut, causing destruction of the host itself. So now researchers have associated this altered microbiome with several lifestyle diseases like obesity, hypertension, inflammatory bowel syndrome, leaky gut syndrome, allergies, asthma, autoimmune disorder, including cancer. So there is a term called farm effect, which is well studied and published. The kids grown in a traditional farm environment, like in the remote villages where the kids are in their homes with the cattle and other stuff. When they are exposed to higher microbial load in their early age, their immune system is primed well, matured well, and then later on, when they catch infection, so they don't get they don't get sick too much, and also they are less prone to allergies, asthma, autoimmune disorder. There is another effect, opposite effect, called urban effect. The kids growing in a urban environment, like clean environment. There is a professor called Mel Gibson. He's a director, Institute of Cancer Research, London. He worked 40 years on this issue. Why the developed countries, the childhood leukemia is more prevalent. So after his 40 years of research, what he discovered is the kids growing on a very clean environment, lacking adequate microbial exposure, leading to formation of immature immune system. When they get infection at a later stage, immune system fails to react. There is a over chaotic environment leads to childhood leukemia. So this is a summary of our diet. The simple starch, low fiber, highly processed diet, in which we get more harmful microbial product because of the opportunistic infection and lesser medicinal microbial metabolic products as compared to the inner soil like fiber rich complex carbohydrate diet, where we get all these nutrients in a balanced way, so it becomes preserving our health. So if you divide the food plate, you are going to have your lunch. So examine yourself. We are going to divide the food plate into 4 quarters. So now mostly 3/4 of our lunch is simple starch diet, and 1/4 is the other source. So maybe in the form of vegetables, proteins like that. But this is highly unsustainable for our microbiotes. So if you want to care for your health, care for your good guys sitting there in your gut, you need to flip the cart around. So you need to have 2/3 of fiber source of your lunch. That means in terms of fresh vegetables, sprouts, and cooked vegetables, could be like chutney, sambar, tovayal, poriyal, avayal, what kind. You can have any form, but it has to be 2/3 of your lunch, portion of your lunch has to be fiber, and 1/3 is starch. That even whole food is good. So nowadays, too much use of antibiotics, biocides in agriculture and healthcare is highly unsustainable, because it is destroying all these beneficial microbial communities, leading to pollution of the soil and water, leading to imbalance in the ecosystem. So what we have to do here is we need to adopt a probiotic lifestyle in which we can able to sustain this beneficial microbial communities, which in turn will sustain life on this planet. So what we have to do is we need to cultivate our inner outer soil with a more organic matter, the form of fiber, using the mind of an ecologist, the care of a gardener, and skill of a doctor. So organic farming is the only future. Can feed the masses with a safe, healthy food. Organic farming is a science, it is a therapy, it is an art, it is the culture. It is the Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, which means whole world as one family. Thank you.